Is that Hamilton?
That's Lewis Hamilton's gone off. Lewis Hamilton's lost it.
And his past Kobe Ashley was a bit sluggish. And there's Lewis Hamilton slewing into the wall. And oh dear, Roman Grosjean.
Lewis Hamilton could be a 12-time world champion. It's got to be impossible, right? Nah, it's possible. Sir Lewis the Ham has been in contention to win 12 out of the 16 seasons he's competed. So let's look at the 5 times he fell short, shall we? 2007. Lewis's debut season started off with the single greatest introduction to the sport we've ever seen. 9 podiums from the start, including 2 wins, to set an astounding lead in the championship early on. But with just 2 races to go, he would have a 17-point gap to eventual champion Kimi Räikkönen. And believe it or not, that is equal to a 42-point gap in 2022. He only needed to finish 2nd once, or 5th twice in the last 2 races to secure the title. So where did it all go wrong? In the second to last round in China, Lewis started on pole and blasted into the lead. He built up a gap very quickly in the opening stages with a series of fast laps in the mixed weather conditions. The first set of stops came. This would allow for drivers to refuel, but it was still too early for them to switch from worn wet tyres to new dry weather tyres. And it was proven in the previous year's Shanghai Grand Prix that the wet tyres of this generation performed better when they were worn but hot rather than fresh and cold. So Lewis, Kimi and Fernando all stayed on worn rubber until the crossover period. But this is where problems started to occur for the leader Hamilton. His tyres were in far worse conditions than his title rivals behind, and on lap 27, Kimi managed to scoot past as Lewis struggled to stay on the track. His situation was getting worse, but the track was still drying. From laps 28 to 30, Fernando caught Lewis by 13 seconds, and there was visible delamination on Lewis's right rear tyre. So the team decided to call him in on lap 31 to switch to the dry tyre. But unfortunately for him, this doesn't go to plan.
Inter's on again, has gone much slower, and as you saw, Jenson Button is out there on dry, he's doing a good job.
Thank you, Ted. Into the pits anyway comes Lewis Hamilton. He goes straight on into the gravel trap. Can he keep the wheels spinning? Can he get some momentum going? No, he can't. It's all going to get away from him.
Kimi would go on to win the race, and the title fight would be extended to the final round in Brazil, where Kimi again would win the race and Lewis would struggle. Poor judgment while making moves on Alonso and Heidfeld would push him back down the field, and ultimately a hydraulics fault would push him back to 18th place. He attempted to fight back through the field, but 7th was all he could muster, and his first title escaped him. 2010. One of the tightest battles for the championship ever, where 4 drivers could still win the title going into the last race in Abu Dhabi, with Lewis being one of them. The season was dominated by the charging Red Bulls, and the pace of the McLaren was not quite on par. But consistent podiums and the odd win would keep Hamilton in the hunt. And if it weren't for incidents with others in battle that forced him to retire on multiple occasions, he could have found himself with an insurmountable lead. Even still, the championship finished with Lewis just 16 points shy of eventual champion Sebastian Vettel. So that makes this next moment very tragic. With 2 laps to go in the Spanish Grand Prix, while running second in the race, an easy 18 points that could have been added to his tally had he managed to just get across the line, this happened.
Lewis, are you okay?
Can't believe it, guys.
Huh. 2012. What more can I say about the 2012 season? It is widely considered the most competitive year in the history of the sport. 7 drivers from 5 different teams won the first 7 races, and although this year is the least plausible case you can make for Lewis winning the title, let me explain. The Hamilton-McLaren combo proved to be the fastest package deal on most tracks throughout the year. But early on it was obvious to those watching that something within the team wasn't running smooth. Mishaps in the pit stops, strange setup decisions, and reliability issues plagued them constantly, thus hurting any chance they had to stay competitive year-round. So if we tally up all the things that went wrong for Sir Lou Ham himself, we can paint the 2012 title picture a little bit more clearly. Spain, he was disqualified from qualifying after getting pole, and he would only finish 8th in the race after starting from last. That lost him a possible 21 points, because I don't care, he beats eventual winner Maldonado on this day. Fight me. Valencia. Maldonado sends him into the shadow realm after fighting for 3rd. That's 15 points. Germany, he gets a puncture at turn 1, costing him a possible 10 points. Belgium, Grosjean gets a little bit friendly in Lewis's safe space. That's 10 points. Singapore, he has a mechanical failure while leading comfortably. That's 25 points. Abu Dhabi, the same again. He's breezing away into the distance for another easy win. 25 points. And finally, in Brazil, while fighting Nico Hülkenberg, yes, you heard that right, the Hulk was fighting for the win, he spins off and takes out Lewis. 25 points. So all up, 131 points were lost, without any wrongdoing on his part. Now of course, other drivers had issues throughout the season as well. And I'm not blind to that either. But when you adjust the points tally just for Lewis Hamilton's bad luck, it looks ridiculous. But that's racing, so it didn't happen. 2016. Coming into the 2016 season, Sir Luigi Hamstrong was now triple world champion, having blitzed the field and outperformed his childhood teammate Nico Rosberg in back-to-back seasons. The 3rd year of the Mercedes League and Friends was just as dominant for the two Silver Arrows, and with them streaking away in the distance for all but 2 races. But I will have to admit, I believe this is Lewis's weakest season as a Mercedes driver. His inability to have a good start through the whole season was shocking. And in the first 4 races, he had no response to a focused Nico Rosberg. They had the same car, he was just getting beaten. But from Monaco onwards, things changed. Hamilton was in charge, taking 10 of the last 16 victories, including the final 4 of the season. He would just lose the title by 5 points, with a championship battle that went down to the final race in Abu Dhabi. He did all he could to back eventual champion Nico Rosberg into the following cars, but to no avail. Nico would take the crown and duly retire. But none of this would have occurred if one thing hadn't gone terribly wrong for Lewis earlier in the season.
The crowd are on their feet outside the window here, Crofty. What are they looking at down there into turn 1?
It's Lewis Hamilton! There's a fire at the back of that Mercedes car. His engine has blown and his chances of winning the Malaysia Grand Prix with it.
Oh no, no!
The one and only mechanically related retirement for the Mercedes team in 2016 happened while Lewis was leading the Malaysian Grand Prix. Had he stayed blessed, this is another world title. 2021. Oh no.
Coming into the pits, Max Verstappen.
I can't box. Negative.
Leclerc and Vettel.
And it's ending, wow!
It's Verstappen, far enough back, he's going to make the launch down the inside. Hamilton sees him coming, it's going Dutch in 2021. Max Verstappen, for the first time ever, is champion.